Good morning, everyone, and welcome to KDP and Coffee, Episode 3. Now, in this episode, we are going to take a look at pricing, one of my favorite topics, talk about the different strategies, take a look at what is selling out there, and we're coming on to the holiday season here, so it's really important that you kind of pick a strategy and run with that. So we're going to take a look at, what other sellers are doing in order to get the most visibility, the most sales, and end up with the most profitable Q4. Now, if you are new to KDP and Coffee, this is where we make a nice cup of coffee. So I have one sitting next to me. And we really take one piece of the KDP business and we just talk about it, run through it, and hopefully you guys can take some actionable advice from this video and put it into practice in your own business. So in this video, let's go ahead and talk about pricing. Okay, so pricing is one of those things where people feel very, very strongly one way or another. So I have a whiteboard open here. Let's actually just head over here and let's just put up here pricing. All right, so we have pricing. Okay, few different thoughts here. On one hand, some people want to price as low as possible. Okay, so we're talking like $3.99 per book. So pricing very low usually leads to an increase in sales velocity. Now, the lower your pricing, you're not going to make nearly as much money. Okay, so let's just go over to Amazon and see if we can find a book that might be priced very, very low. All right, so we're on Amazon, and let's go ahead and just search for Thanksgiving activity book or Thanksgiving coloring book. Thanksgiving coloring book. And we'll just take a look at the results here. Now, you'll see the first four here are sponsored. I mean, you have some down here in the $4 range. $4, $4.97, $5.87. So I mean, if you're pricing your book at $4.99 or $3.99 or something really, really low, you're not going to be making that much money. But one of the techniques that you can use, depending on kind of what side of the fence you're on, is you can price your book very, very low. So let's say it's, January, and you're coming out with a Thanksgiving coloring book, Thanksgiving activity book, you name it. It's not really the season for that holiday, for that book to be sold many, many times. So one strategy that sellers use is they'll price their book low throughout the normal boring season to try to get as many sales as possible on the off season that will lead to these reviews. And then as soon as you're a few months out from said holiday, so Thanksgiving in this case, you'll start to bump your price up slowly. I recommend doing it slowly. So let's say that you have a book priced at $4.99. Let's say that this is your book right here. So let's take a look at this book. Pretty good cover. All right, just simple graphics here, okay? So simple coloring book, priced at $4.99. It wasn't published that long ago. We can scroll down. Incredible sales rank. So this book selling very, very well. So what I would do if I was in the shoes of this seller, okay, so this is something you might want to think about in your business, is Thanksgiving is coming up. Now, they don't have any reviews, okay, so the first thing you want to do when thinking about, do I raise my price if you're following this strategy, is look at the front page results, right? All we did was come over to Amazon and type in Thanksgiving coloring book. Now, we're looking through the front page results. These are the books you are competing with. So if every single book on this page had, 92 reviews, 100 reviews, I'd be very careful about raising your price, because if you raise your price, let's say you raise your price to $5.99, $6.99, $7.99, all of a sudden you look like a worse value just because looking right next to it, here's a $6.98 book, okay? More expensive, but it has the social proof here. So 69 reviews, $6.95, 118 reviews. These reviews right here are crucial to a long-standing KDP business, because they say to the customer, hey, customer, there's at least 118 other people out there that love this Happy Thanksgiving coloring book for toddlers. Okay, so if you raise your price and you don't have any reviews, you look like a worse value. Okay, so keeping your price low, that's definitely one of the techniques throughout the year. Now, some people will leave money on the table. I've seen this in every single print-on-demand industry I've ever been in. Some people will price really low, say $4.99, and they will never change their price. They'll stay there. They'll run it through the holidays. And what essentially is happening is this person is going to end up losing a lot of potential money. So they're not going to lose money, right? They're still making an income. But during the season, this person might make, a few $100. Maybe they make $1,000. I don't know what it is. But if they raise their price and they did it slowly and calculated, they could end up with, an extra $1,000 in their pocket, an extra $5,000 in the pocket. So the opportunity cost there is really something to keep in mind. So let's just keep looking at this niche and scrolling down. You'll see here, this one right here, $7.95. 84 reviews. One of the reasons that they can price high in this case, I mean, this isn't really high, but price a little bit higher than everyone else, is they have the reviews, but this is an incredible cover. So let's actually just take a look at this real quick. Look inside. All right, so scrolling down, this is a little bit more complicated than the one we just looked at. So do customers come in here and look inside? Very few of them. Most of them are going to make the judgment just on this little thumbnail right here. But that's something to keep in mind. If you are spending more time per book and you can justify that to the customer. Okay, so if you spend, 40 hours on a book, but your cover is incredibly simple and they can't get across what it includes, then you're going to have a problem pricing a little bit higher. But if you can convey to the customer immediately just by looking, hey, like this is a high quality book, it's got a high quality cover, you can usually justify pricing a little bit higher, and especially if you have those reviews, it makes it a lot simpler. So this book is, selling very, very well, okay? So low content book here. We have a coloring book, priced a little bit higher. Let's keep looking at this single page, see if we see any outliers. You'll see right here, this one's priced really high, but this is not exactly a book, but it is a sponsored product, so that's why it's showing up here. And let's see, anything else? We have this one, okay? This is a paperback, priced at $11. Hide It in Your Heart, a scripture coloring book. So this is still a coloring book. They have the reviews, and notice we're still looking on the front page. Okay, so this isn't like page 18. This is page number 1, and they're showing up. Now, if you price this at $10.99 and you came out with your own book immediately and you had 0 reviews, you'd have a problem selling through as much as you'd hope to. So just keep that in mind when looking through this. Now, so that's technique number 1, right? Like price low, get the sales velocity going, and then change your price when it comes to the season or the holiday, or if it's an evergreen book, something that you have put out to sell year round, you can start changing your pricing at any time. There's not like a specific season or reason to do that. But one thing I do want to keep in mind, let's go into BookBolt here. Let's go over to the cloud module and let's just type in, let's go to coloring book, Thanksgiving. I want to show you guys, so if we take a look at all of these coloring books here, okay, so here's one. We can click on this little button right here. This is going to show you the sales rank and the price history over a period of time. So you can see right here, the sales rank is going down. So when sales rank is going down, the book is making more sales. But what I want to try to find is something right here. You'll see their price did not change at all. Okay, so we can go through and just take a look at some of these. This one just got picked up. And see if anyone has changed their pricing. Now, I haven't put any of this together before I did the video, so I'm not sure if any of these have or not. Don't do Pokemon. Right here. So here's a good example, right? So Gnome's Autumn Coloring Book for Adults. Okay, so this, Thanksgiving, autumn goes hand in hand. What we can see with this book is that the sales rank started pretty high, 291,000. So they're probably selling, 1 or 2 a week here, depending on the season again. And you'll see they started their price at $5.99. Okay, so their price was a little bit lower and they started to sell more. So their sales rank dropped. So what did this seller do? The seller went, you know what? I'm selling more product So what should I do? Should I bump my price to, $25.99? No, they bumped their price by $1, and then they took a look at, hey, what happens? So if you're going to raise your price, do so in slow, calculated increments. I'm talking like 50 cents, $1, maybe $2. We are running a case study right now that we will be pushing out on the BookBolt blog probably pretty shortly within the next week or two, so make sure to look out for that, talking about a strategy in order to get these books ranked. But what we've noticed is that if you raise your price slowly, so in this case $5.99 to $6.99, you can typically hang on to that higher sales velocity. And if you bump it too quickly, for some reason the algorithm on Amazon usually is like, okay, maybe we shouldn't put you on the first page anymore. What's going on here? Sales velocity goes down. That means less people are buying it as quick. But you'll see here they raise the price, and here's the line, right? Like, this is the line they were selling at, but once they raise their price, they still continue to sell more books, which means they put more royalties into their pocket. Okay, so that's strategy number one. Price a little bit lower, get the sales, get the reviews. I don't actually know if this one has any reviews. It does, has 10 reviews, so they're in a perfect position to pull off this strategy, and you can see that's exactly what they did. They started a little bit lower. They were like, you know what? Sales are taking off. Sales rank is going down. Everything's good. Let's move the pricing up slightly. They, take a look, see what happens. They're selling more books at a higher price. They have the reviews, and then they can continue monitoring that. Like as more reviews come in, maybe they want to bump the price again, monitoring what is going on. So that is number one. Price low, change your strategy, and monitor what is going on. Now, I know a lot of people out there are like, why would you ever price low? All right. This is kind of a pet peeve of mine. Amazon is founded and run on the strategy of having great quality products at the lowest possible price. Okay, so just thinking about Amazon's history, they literally lost money for years in order to be, a leader in the space. So just keep in mind that people do buy on price. Price sensitivity is a thing, so you really need to play around with this. Now, if we go back to the home page here, I want to show you guys that if you look at this page, you're going to notice there's a lot of sponsored results. So let's just go to the top and count them. Okay, so sponsored, 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 sponsored. That's people are paying Amazon per click. So if I clicked on this right now, whoever owns this book would end up paying a price for that click to Amazon. So this is another strategy that you guys can put into place, something I highly recommend once you figure out what books are going to sell. So you'll have 4 here. So let's just count them on the whole front page. 4. These are not sponsored. Notice we're looking at this little sponsor tab right here. So 4, 5. Nice little video ad here. So we have 5. We're scrolling down. 6, 7, 8. Not sponsored. 8, let's see, what else? 9, here's 1, 10, 11. 11. Do we have any more? I might be missing them. I'm going through this fairly quick. 11, 12, 13. So there's 13 results on the front page that someone is paying for that visibility. So like this one by Ruby Carter, Fall and Thanksgiving Coloring Book, might not necessarily show up on the front page, but they are willing to pay Amazon to show up here via a sponsored listing. So that begs the question, if you're going to do a sponsored listing, what is the best technique? So you have 2 techniques here, right? Like you can price low, which means that if you do make a sale, you're going to make a lower royalty. Why is that a problem if you're doing sponsored ads? Well, sponsored ads cost money. There is a good chance that if this person is advertising this book, they're going to lose money on every sale they make. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're running sponsored products, there's kind of 2 trains of thought here. One, you can price low, run sponsored products, and try to get that sales velocity and get those reviews on your book. Okay, you will lose a little bit of money, but the idea behind this is using it as a loss leader. So essentially what that means is that yes, you're losing a little bit of money up front, but the idea is you get the sales velocity, you get the reviews, and once you turn that off, the organic sales, the new ranking of the book, because every time you're making a sale, it's moving up the search results, right? Because Amazon says, hey, this book is a seller, people actually like it, people are leaving reviews, let's rank them higher because we know that the sell-through rate is going to be greater. And hopefully all of that makes up for the ad spend that you've just pushed to the book over, the period of time that you are running it. So that's technique number one. That does work, but that's something that you need to be on top of. And if you're not, you'll end up losing a bunch of money. It won't work. You won't get ranked. The sales velocity isn't there. Maybe you're trying to run ads to a book that it just isn't selling, period. That can turn out to be a problem. So if you're going to run a loss leader ad campaign, you need to be on top of it. Now, something else that I have definitely seen is on the flip side. So in order to show you that, let's look up like Sudoku puzzle book. Okay. This usually has some higher price books in it. So this right here. Okay. So the Ultimate Brain Health Sudoku book for adults. Okay. It only has 7 reviews. It's priced fairly high compared to everything else. So if you're looking down this page, even this one right here. So this is a best seller. It's got the best seller tag on it. They usually run ads for this book in the past from what I've seen. Here's one right here. But this is a recommendation, editorial recommendation. Sometimes you will see this as well. But what I'm trying to point out here is let's use this as an example. The person running ads, again, this is a sponsored book for this, is taking the opposite approach. They're running ads, they're putting this book out on the front page above the fold. Okay, so if you ever hear me or anyone out there mention, hey, you want to make sure that your book or your product or X, Y, and Z is above the fold, it simply means if a customer does a search, they see it on this screen. So notice how I did a search, nothing is scrolled down. This is above the fold, this is above the fold. Below the fold is once they start scrolling. Okay, so what leads to the best possible sales? Everything above the fold. You want to remove friction from the actual sales process, and that is why people are willing to spend on these ads, because this is the first thing customers see, and that's going to be in their back of their minds, right? So like if I'm a customer and I come over to this page and I'm searching for a Sudoku puzzle book, I see these 4 Sudoku puzzle books above the fold, and as I scroll down, since that's the first thing I saw, it's going to be in the back of my mind. I'm like, you know what? Clearly, I should buy the first book because that is what Amazon thinks is the best. That is what customers think, is that no matter if the best book is on like page 18, people think that reviews count for everything and that the first products that are showing up are the best. That is just the way that customers think. So the strategy here is that you can price your book higher because every time it sells, there will be a higher royalty, which means that when you are pushing out sponsored product ads, the goal here is to not lose a single dime and be profitable with every dollar you're putting into ad spend. So something you might want to think about is, hey, if I know I have a book that sells really well, do I want to use it as a loss leader, knowing full well that I'm going to lose money on my ad campaign? Or is my book really, really good? It provides a lot of value. Do I think that I can price it high enough where I can run ads and still be profitable? So let's say I put $1 into ad spend. Ideally, I'd be looking for at least a $2 return on that ad spend. Now, it's going to take some time to figure out an ad campaign, get the keywords right, everything like that. But that is definitely another strategy. And once you figure something like that out, it's like printing money because you just up your ad spend in AMS, Amazon Advertising, and guess what comes back to you? Double what you just spent. So that's kind of the entire goal when it comes to that strategy. So just looking at kind of the pricing strategies that people are doing, one versus the other doesn't necessarily mean one is wrong, one is correct. There's lots of different strategies. What I want to get across in this video is for you to actively think about where and how are you going to price your book and why. Okay, because the biggest thing that you could do wrong is price your book one way with a strategy in your mind and then not follow through on that strategy, because you could end up leaving thousands and thousands of dollars on the table that you could have put in your pocket, put into your business, hired someone to create more books for you. So it's just really important that you sit down, you take a look at the pricing strategy, you pick a pricing strategy, and then you kind of run with it, okay? Because we don't want you to leave money on the table. Now, one more thing that I should mention is you should take a look. Let's go back to like this page, right? Let's say you're making a Sudoku book and you're looking through all of these results here and you're noticing, all right, $7.99, $8.99. This one's priced pretty high at $15. You want to price towards the market. Okay, so you can price low, you can price high, but what you don't want to do is price so far in the opposite direction that it makes zero sense for you. So looking at these results, you kind of want to land in, say, like the $7.99 to $15 range, just looking what everything else is priced. Would it make sense as a seller to enter this market, looking at all of these that are selling, looking at all of these prices? Would it make sense to enter this market with a low content book priced at $49.99? No, it would definitely not make any sense, because that isn't what the market is telling you it is willing to bear. Okay, so that's another thing you need to keep in mind. Whether you price low or high, you need to make sure you're pricing within the range that Amazon buyers are willing to tolerate. So just to kind of show you, we scroll all the way up. Remember, I looked at Thanksgiving. We're looking in coloring books. If you look at results data, you'll see the price is 0 to 100, right? But right here, you'll see the lowest price is $4.89 and the highest price is $9.99. Now, this is just for coloring books in Thanksgiving that are selling well. This isn't all of them, okay? But this is telling you, okay, the average price is around $7. So you need to look at this data and think to yourself, all right, one, I need to pick a pricing strategy. But two, I typically want to be priced, if I'm entering in a broad niche, within a certain range that Amazon sellers are willing to bear. So that is probably going to be the end of this video. Just a few things to keep in mind. Let me know in the comments below what pricing strategy you have put into your own business and how it's working. And if you do multiple pricing strategies, like, I want to hear about that too. Keep a lookout for the book blog. We're going to be pushing some content there about ranking and some strategies in order to get the most visibility. So that should be out soon. Thank you guys for watching and have a great rest of your day.